Bangladesh is a small country in South Asia with over 160 million people. It's a place full of life with tasty food and colorful traditions, but it faces big challenges like floods and poverty. To survive, Bangladesh leans on other countries for help. Whether it's buying goods, sending workers abroad, or getting aid, these nations keep Bangladesh going. In this story, we'll count down the top 10 countries Bangladesh can't live without, from 10 to 1. They're vital for its economy and future. So stick around till the end to find out who's number 1. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Number 10, Singapore. Singapore is like a tiny island with a big heart for Bangladesh. Even though it's small, it sends over 5% of all the stuff Bangladesh buys from other countries. That's a lot. Think of all the cool gadgets and machines that help Bangladesh grow, like phones and factory tools. For example, in 2020, Singapore sent over 10,000 tons of machinery to Bangladesh, helping factories run smoother. In 2019, they made a special deal so businesses don't get taxed twice, making trade easier. Singapore also stands up for Bangladesh in big meetings with other countries, like in ASEAN. Plus, Singapore's banks lend money to Bangladeshi companies. In 2022, loans from Singapore banks jumped by 15%, showing their trust in Bangladesh's future. But if Singapore stopped helping, Bangladesh would struggle to find new friends to fill the gap. It's like losing a small but super helpful buddy. Number 9, Malaysia. Malaysia is like a big, welcoming playground for Bangladeshi workers. Over 1 million people from Bangladesh have gone there to work since the 2000s, and they send home a ton of money. About 10% of all the cash that flows into Bangladesh from abroad in 2021, that's a huge piggy bank for families. In 2019, Malaysia hired 50,000 new Bangladeshi workers, boosting the economy. Malaysia also buys clothes and food from Bangladesh, and trade between them grew by 15% in 2022. They're like best friends who help each other out. But sometimes workers face low pay or tough conditions. Still, even during the pandemic in 2020, remittances from Malaysia only dropped by 5%, showing how strong the connection is. In 2021, they signed a deal to make it easier for workers to go there, promising better protection and higher wages. Without Malaysia, many Bangladeshi families would really struggle. Number 8, Japan. Japan is like a kind uncle who always has a gift for Bangladesh. Since the 1970s, Japan has given a lot, about 40% of the funds for big projects over the years. For example, in 2020, they helped build the Dhaka Metro Rail, making travel faster for millions. In 2018, Japan gave a loan of 2 billion yen for a power plant, boosting electricity. Japan also buys Bangladeshi goods like fish and shares cool tech. In 2021, Japanese experts taught 1,000 Bangladeshi workers how to make better products. Politically, Japan is a quiet but steady friend. But Bangladesh owes Japan a lot, and paying it back could be tough. If Japan stopped helping, many roads and bridges might stay broken. In 2019, Japan even funded a project to clean rivers, helping the environment. It's a generous friend Bangladesh relies on big time. Number 7, Germany. Germany is like a strict teacher who loves Bangladeshi clothes but wants them made right. It's the second biggest buyer in Europe, taking 15% of Bangladesh's garment exports in 2022. That means millions of jobs depend on Germany. In 2020, Germany bought over 1 million shirts from Bangladesh, boosting the economy. Germany also helps with money, about 5% of the funds for factory upgrades since 2015. After the awful Rana Plaza collapse in 2013, Germany pushed for safer factories, and things got better. In 2021, they funded a project to train 10,000 workers in better sewing skills. Politically, Germany nudges Bangladesh to be fairer in elections and rights. In 2022, Germany's aid helped build 50 new factories, creating thousands of jobs. But if Germany stopped buying clothes, many shops would close and workers would be out of work. It's a tough but super important friend. Number 6, United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is like an old friend who's known Bangladesh forever, even from the colonial days. Now it's one of the top buyers of Bangladeshi clothes, taking 10% of all exports in 2020. That keeps factories humming and people working. In 2019, the UK imported over 500,000 tons of garments from Bangladesh, supporting the economy. The UK also sends help when disasters like floods hit, about 20% of the aid for relief since 2010. In 2021, they sent emergency aid after a huge cyclone, helping 100,000 families. Politically, the UK cares about rights and fair elections in Bangladesh, sometimes speaking up loud. But since Brexit in 2020, trade talks have been tricky, and Bangladesh worries about losing easy access to UK markets. Without the UK, jobs would vanish, and help during tough times would shrink. It's a bond Bangladesh needs to keep strong. Number 5. United Arab Emirates. Imagine a dazzling desert city where Bangladeshis chase big dreams. That's the UAE. Over 700,000 Bangladeshi workers live there, sending home a whopping 15% of the country's remittances in 2022. That's money keeping families fed. The UAE also gobbles up Bangladeshi rice and fish, while investing in power plants, like a huge one finished in 2018 that lit up villages. Politically, they've been buddies since the 1970s, teaming up in Muslim world meetings. But it's not all glitter. 2021 reports showed workers facing tough conditions, some even trapped in harsh jobs. If the UAE slammed its doors shut, Bangladesh would lose a giant chunk of cash and growth. Picture millions of families suddenly struggling. That's how vital this shiny lifeline is, despite its shadows. The UAE's a friend with fancy perks and some scary risks. Number 4. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is like a mega-rich boss hiring Bangladeshis by the truckload. Around 2 million workers toil there, sending back 20% of Bangladesh's remittances in 2022, huge for keeping the lights on at home. Since the 1980s, Saudi's been a political big shot, backing Bangladesh in Islamic summits. They've also built schools and mosques, like one opened in 2015. But it's a tough gig. 2020's COVID mess left thousands stranded, and strict rules often spark complaints. If Saudi stopped hiring, Bangladesh's economy would take a nosedive. Think empty wallets and hungry kids. It's a powerhouse connection, but workers pay a price with sweat and sometimes tears. Saudi's a giant friend that could make or break Bangladesh in a heartbeat. Number 3. United States. The US is like a giant shopping mall where Bangladesh sells piles of clothes, 20% of its exports in 2021. That's millions of jeans and shirts, keeping 4 million factory workers busy. Since 2015, the US has chipped in 10% of Bangladesh's health projects, like clinics built in 2019. Politically, they're loud, pushing for fair elections, which sparked a big spat in 2023. But if the US stopped buying, factories would grind to a halt and jobs would vanish overnight. Imagine ghost towns where buzzing machines once hummed. That's the risk. The US is a bossy customer Bangladesh can't afford to lose, balancing trade perks with some serious nagging. Number 2. China. China's like a massive factory next door, pumping out 25% of Bangladesh's imports in 2022. Think phones, toys, and machines. They built the epic Padma Bridge in 2021, connecting 30 million people. Since 2018, China's loans have spiked 30%, funding roads and rails. But here's the shocker. Bangladesh owes China big time, and debt's piling up fast. If China pulled the plug, trade would freeze, projects would stall, and that debt could choke the economy. Picture bridges half-built and markets empty. That's the scary side. China's a mighty helper, but it's got Bangladesh on a tight rope. Number 1. India. Imagine India as Bangladesh's big brother, always nearby with a helping hand. They share a huge border and tons of history. In 2021, India sent Bangladesh 14 times more stuff, like food, clothes, and machines, than Bangladesh sent back. That year, over 30% of everything Bangladesh imported came from India. In 2024, India shipped 5,620 different types of goods there. That's like your big brother giving you most of your snacks and toys. India also builds cool things for Bangladesh. In 2020, they finished a road that made travel and trade way easier, like connecting your neighborhood to the mall. But sometimes, they argue. Since 2011, they've fought over the Teesta River's water, which Bangladeshi farmers desperately need for their crops. Still, they're working it out. In 2025, their leaders met, signing deals on energy and security. Without India, Bangladesh would be stuck, economically and beyond. Their bond's strong, even with a few squabbles. Bangladesh's story is tied to these 10 countries. They bring trade, jobs, and help that keep it alive. Without them, life would get tough fast. As Bangladesh grows, these friends will shape its future. Which one's the biggest hero for Bangladesh? Tell us below, and hit like and subscribe for more.